Hello students, I am Nidhi Markade. Today we are going to start chapter number 9 in science, force and laws of motion. So students, in the previous chapter we described the motion of an object in chapter number 8 along a straight line in terms of its position, velocity and acceleration. We have discussed equation of motion with it. We saw that such a motion can be uniform or non-uniform. We have not yet discovered what causes the motion. Why does the speed of an object change with time? Do all motions require a cause? If so, then what will be the nature of this cause? In this chapter, we shall make an attempt to acquire all such problems. So, for many centuries, the problem of motion and its causes had puzzled scientists and philosophers. A ball on the ground, when given a small hit, does not move forever. Such observations suggest that the rest in the natural state of an object. These remind the belief until Galileo and Isaac Newton developed an entirely different approach to understand the concept of motion. Here in the diagram, we are observing that the trolley moves along the direction we push it, and the drawer is pulled when we pull it, etc. Now, in everyday life, we observe that some effort is required to put a stationary object into motion or to stop a moving object. We ordinarily experience this as a muscular effort and say that we must push or hit or pull on an object to change its state of motion. The concept of force is based on this push, hit, or we can say pull. Let us now discuss about a force. What is it? In fact, no one has seen, tested, or felt a force. However, we always see or feel the effect of force. It can only be explained by describing what happens when a force is applied to an object. Pushing, heating, and pulling of objects are all ways of bringing objects in motion. They move because we make a force act on them. From your studies in earlier classes, you are also familiar with the fact that a force can be used to change the magnitude of velocity of an object. That is to make the object move faster or slower or to change its direction of motion. We also know that a force can change the shape and size of the objects as shown in the figure. Now, balanced and unbalanced forces. Observe the diagram carefully. It shows a wooden block on a horizontal table. Two strings X and Y are tied at the two opposite faces of the block as shown in the figure. If we apply a force by pulling the string X, the block begins to move to the right. Similarly, if we pull the string Y, the block moves to the left. But if the block is pulled from both the sides with equal forces, the block will not move. Such forces are called as balanced forces and do not change the state of rest or motion of an object. Is it clear? So, what do you mean by balanced forces? The forces under whose combined effect there is no change in the stationary state or state of motion of a body are known as balanced forces. Their resultant force is always zero. Now let us consider a situation in which two opposite forces of different magnitudes pull the block. In this case, the block would begin to move in the direction of the greater force applied. Thus, the two forces are not balanced and the unbalanced force acts in the direction the block moves. This suggests that an unbalanced force acting on an object brings it in motion. Therefore, unbalanced forces means the forces under whose combined effect a stationary body comes in motion or there is change in the velocity of a moving body, known as unbalanced force. Now, what happens when some children try to push a box on a rough floor? As shown in the figure, if they push the box with a small force, the box does not move because of friction acting in a direction opposite to the push, as shown in the figure. These fraction, this friction force arises between two surfaces in contact. This is known as force of friction. In this case, between the bottom of the box and floor's rough surface here. It balances the pushing force and therefore the box does not move. In second case, the children push the box harder but the box still does not move. This is because the friction force still balances the pushing force. Then, at last, if the children push the box harder still, the pushing force becomes bigger than the friction force and there is an unbalanced force. So the box starts moving in case of third part. So, what happens when we ride a bicycle? When we stop pedaling, the bicycle begins to slow down. This is again because of the friction forces acting opposite to the direction of motion. In order to keep the bicycle moving, we have to start pedaling again. It thus appears that an object maintains its motion under the continuous application of an unbalanced force. However, it is quite incorrect. An object moves with a uniform velocity when the forces, that is pushing force or friction force, etc., acting on the object are balanced and there is no net external force on it. If an unbalanced force is applied on the object, there will be a change either in its speed or in the direction of its motion. Thus, to accelerate the motion of an object, an unbalanced force is required, and the change in its speed would continue as long as this unbalanced force is applied. However, if this force is removed completely, the object would continue to move with the velocity it has acquired till then. So, students, I hope you understood the initial part of this chapter, that is, some examples of motion and balanced and unbalanced force. Thank you for listening.